A family could spend centuries answering to one surname, only to abandon it almost overnight, not because they wanted to, but because their faith suddenly made that name dangerous. Across Europe and beyond, religion has done more than shape beliefs. It has erased identities, created new family names, and hidden entire bloodlines in plain sight. Some people changed their surnames to avoid persecution. Others adopted new ones after converting to a different religion. Entire communities reinvented themselves to survive wars, inquisitions, forced migrations, and political revolutions. Even today, millions of people unknowingly carry names that were chosen not by their ancestors, but by history itself. The surprising question isn't whether religion influenced last names, it's how many of the names we use today exist because someone, somewhere, had no other choice. For most of human history, surnames weren't permanent. In many medieval societies, people were identified by their father, their occupation, their village, or even a physical feature. One generation might be known by one name, while the next used something entirely different. It wasn't until governments needed better ways to collect taxes, record property, organize military service, and document marriages that hereditary surnames became increasingly common. At the same time, religion touched nearly every part of daily life. Churches kept birth records, synagogues preserved family histories, mosques documented marriages. Religious authorities often became the official guardians of identity itself. That meant when religion changed, names often changed with it. But that was only the beginning of a much larger story. One of the clearest examples comes from medieval Spain. For centuries, Christians, Muslims, and Jews lived together across large parts of the Iberian Peninsula. Although tensions certainly existed, these communities often develop unique local traditions while preserving distinct religious identities. Everything changed during the late 15th century. In 1492, the Catholic monarchs completed the Reconquista with the capture of Granada. That same year, Spain issued the Alhambra decree, ordering Jews to convert to Christianity or leave the kingdom. Thousands chose exile, others converted. Those converts became known as Conversos, or New Christians. Many adopted Christian first names and surnames. Names such as Fernandez, Perez, Rodriguez, Lopez, or Garcia, already common among Christians, were sometimes chosen by converts seeking to blend into society. A surname that appeared completely ordinary could conceal generations of Jewish ancestry. The transformation wasn't simply symbolic. The Spanish Inquisition continued investigating people suspected of secretly practicing Judaism. Despite their public conversion, family names became shields. But sometimes even a new surname wasn't enough. The search for hidden religious identity continued for centuries. Portugal soon experienced a similar story. In 1497, many Portuguese Jews were forcibly converted. Officially, they became Christians. Privately, some continued observing Jewish traditions inside their homes. Historians often refer to them as crypto-Jews. To protect themselves, many families embraced names that revealed nothing about their former faith. Today, genetic studies and historical records continue helping descendants rediscover identities hidden for over 500 years. What seemed like an ordinary surname often carries an extraordinary secret. Yet, the experience wasn't limited to the Iberian Peninsula. During the Protestant Reformation, religion once again reshaped family identity across Europe. Beginning in the early 16th century, the teachings of Martin Luther challenged the authority of the Catholic Church. Soon, Europe divided into competing religious communities. In many regions, changing faith also meant changing social status. Families relocated to territories where their beliefs were accepted. Local languages changed. Spellings evolved. German surnames appeared in English forms. French Protestant families fleeing persecution sometimes simplified or translated their names after settling in England, the Netherlands, or North America. The original surname slowly disappeared. A new identity emerged. Historians rarely mention how migration quietly transformed family names long before modern immigration offices ever existed. England experienced its own religious upheaval. When King Henry VIII separated from Rome and established the Church of England, monasteries dissolved, church lands changed hands, and religious authorities shifted dramatically. Most English surnames remained stable by this point, but religious conflict encouraged migration and social change. Catholics fleeing persecution sometimes settled abroad. Protestant refugees entered England from continental Europe. Over generations, unfamiliar surnames adapted to English pronunciation and spelling. A French Huguenot family arriving in London might see its name altered within a single generation. Not through official decree, simply through everyday conversation. One clerk's spelling mistake could become permanent. Elsewhere, another religious transformation unfolded under very different circumstances. Throughout Eastern Europe, Jewish communities often used patronymics rather than fixed hereditary surnames. A man might simply be identified as the son of his father. That changed during the 18th and 19th centuries. Governments in the Austrian and Russian empires ordered Jewish families to adopt permanent surnames for taxation, military records, and administration. Some selected names inspired by nature: Goldberg, Rosenberg, Blumenfeld. Others received names assigned by officials. Some sounded elegant. Others were deliberately unflattering. For countless Jewish families, the surname carried today may have originated not through tradition, but through government bureaucracy. The story becomes even more remarkable when those same families later emigrated to America. Immigration officials rarely forced widespread surname changes, despite popular myths. However, many immigrants voluntarily shortened, simplified, or anglicized difficult spellings. Religious identity blended with cultural adaptation. A family seeking opportunity often sought acceptance as well. Sometimes a single letter changed. Sometimes the entire surname disappeared. The real surprise came far beyond Europe. Religion reshaped names across the Islamic world too. Following conversion to Islam, many individuals adopted Arabic personal names while preserving local family traditions. In some regions, tribal identities remain stronger than hereditary surnames. Elsewhere, Islamic influence introduced entirely new naming customs. The word ibn, meaning son of, and bint, meaning daughter of, reflected family relationships rather than permanent surnames. As modern nation-states developed, hereditary family names became increasingly standardized. The result was a fascinating blend of religious tradition and modern administration. South Asia tells another remarkable chapter. For centuries, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Christian, and other communities developed distinctive naming customs. Conversion sometimes influenced surnames, though practices varied widely by region and community. Some converts retained ancestral family names. Others adopted names associated with their new faith. Still others blended traditions from both worlds. The outcome reflected local culture as much as religion itself. There was never one universal pattern. And that's exactly what makes genealogy so challenging. Ireland offers another compelling example. For generations, Catholic identity became deeply intertwined with Irish culture under British rule. Many traditional Gaelic surnames survived despite political pressure. Names beginning with O and Mac preserved links to ancient family lineages. Yet English administration often altered Gaelic spellings. O'Brien became O'Brien. MacGabbon became McGowan. Some families accepted English versions. Others resisted. Religion, language, and national identity became impossible to separate. Each surname carried multiple layers of history. Meanwhile, in Scotland, religious conflict between Catholics and Protestants shaped migration patterns rather than completely replacing established clan surnames. Families relocated according to political loyalties. Some crossed into Ireland during the plantation of Ulster. Others later emigrated to North America. Although surnames often remain recognizable, their religious identity shifted across generations. A familiar Scottish name could tell very different stories depending on where that family eventually settled. But perhaps the most heartbreaking examples emerged during times of persecution. Throughout history, countless families concealed their religious identity by adopting names that attracted less attention. Some abandoned centuries-old surnames forever. Others passed secret traditions quietly from parent to child. Recipes, prayers, holiday customs, family stories. Long after the original surname disappeared, fragments of identity survived inside ordinary households. Modern genealogy has uncovered many of these forgotten connections. DNA testing has helped descendants reconnect with ancestral communities. Historical archives continue revealing baptismal records, marriage certificates, synagogue registers, parish books, and immigration documents that expose surprising family histories. Yet, documents alone cannot explain every mystery. Names evolve naturally, languages change, borders move, governments collapse, wars destroy records. Sometimes the evidence simply disappears. That's why responsible historians avoid making absolute claims based solely on surnames. A name offers clues, not certainty. One of the biggest misconceptions today is the belief that every surname has remained unchanged for centuries. In reality, spelling was remarkably flexible before widespread literacy. Even members of the same family might write their surnames several different ways. Religious officials, government clerks, and census takers often recorded names according to local pronunciation. Generation after generation, those small differences accumulated. Eventually, entirely new surnames emerged from the same original family. What appears to be two unrelated names may actually share a common ancestor. And what seems like one family may trace back to several different origins. The deeper researchers investigate, the more fascinating the picture becomes. Religion influenced surnames directly through conversion, indirectly through migration, quietly through language, unexpectedly through politics, sometimes through survival itself. A last name might reflect devotion, it might conceal fear, it might preserve hope, or it might simply reveal that an ancestor crossed a border where no one could pronounce the old family name. Every possibility leaves its mark. Perhaps that's the greatest lesson hidden inside our surnames. They are not frozen labels passed unchanged through history. They are living records of human resilience. Every altered spelling, every adopting identity, every translated surname represents someone who adapted to a changing world. Some sought freedom. Some escaped persecution. Some embraced new beliefs. Others simply wanted their children to live in peace. Their decisions still echo every time their descendants sign a document, introduce themselves, or trace a family tree. A surname may seem permanent, but history tells a different story. Behind countless family names lies a journey shaped by faith, migration, courage, and survival. Proof that sometimes the most powerful record of the past isn't written in a history book, but spoken every time we say our own name. If your family name has a story worth discovering, subscribe for more forgotten history.